right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Growing concerns in a growing Missouri town.
There's going to be a delayed response time with any volunteer department.
A department's assurance they're ready to answer the call, and why not everyone is convinced.
Well, this has raised a lot of questions for us.
Not far from a record high today, spotty rain around, plus I'll time out when we have a few more brief rain chances.
Our top story, a mishap on the Missouri campaign trail. The near miss at a Kunce event. We want to thank you for joining us at 10 tonight. I'm Brent Solomon. Mike and Kelly have the night off. Tonight, a TV reporter in Kansas City is recovering from a minor injury after the U.S. Senate candidate fired a rifle. 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend is following this developing story from our newsroom. Fill us in, Robert.
Hey, Brent, I can tell you this. Tonight, Missouri Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, Kunce, is making news headlines and blowing up on social media. Now, we're hearing Kunce was at a shooting range at a private residence for a campaign event in Holt, Missouri. That's just north of Kansas City, when he fired a rifle. Investigators say a bullet or another type of metal fragment ricocheted off a target and hit a TV reporter in his arm. Now, these are photos you're looking at from the scene. Kunce saw the reporter. KSHB's Ryan Gamboa started bleeding. Kunce, who spent 13 years in the Marines, immediately wrapped gauze and his belt around the reporter's arm to stop the bleeding. Now, the wound was later wrapped with medical tape. Here's part of the conversation Kunce had with the injured reporter at the time.
Yeah, I mean, always have your first aid kit handy. You know, you never know what's going to happen. A round can always bounce off of anything and come back and nick somebody, and so you got to be prepared for that. You got to be ready to go. We had like 4 first aid kits here, and you know, I'm pretty proud of the fact that we had that. We were able to take care of the situation. I hope your arm's feeling better, brother. And yeah, we'll have to get you to sling around downrange here and maybe blow up a Coke bottle, huh?
Yeah, I'm in. Whatever. I'm good. Thank you.
Right.
I appreciate
Thanks, guys.
it.
Now, the reporter remained at the scene and continued his assignment before he was later treated at a hospital for minor injuries and released. Other Missouri lawmakers, including Republican Senator Josh Hawley and Attorney General Eric Schmidt, were quick to take to social media this afternoon and comment about today's incident.
All right, Robert Townsend reporting. Well, right now, police are searching for a Sullivan man who they believe was abducted. An endangered person advisory is now issued for the man on the left side of your screen here. He's 63-year-old Dale William Ryerson. Investigators believe he may have been hurt when he was abducted from Jones Street. That was around midnight. Police named 34-year-old Cody Lee Hunt as a person of interest. They were last seen in a 2004 silver Jeep Grand Cherokee with Missouri plates EK3R7P. If you see them, call 911. Growing concerns tonight for people living in Old Monroe. Some in that Lincoln County community have questions over the volunteer fire department's lack of response to 911 calls. They were hoping to get answers at a board meeting last night, only to learn that meeting was canceled. New tonight, 5 on Your Side's Laura Bachewski hearing from concerned neighbors and even the department itself. What are they telling you, Laura?
Brent, Old Monroe residents tell me there have been several serious incidents where the fire department hasn't shown up or took longer to respond. The department says a lot of these challenges are not unique to them, and it's something volunteer departments are experiencing across the state. Old Monroe resident Ian Heidemann says he's been worried about the Old Monroe Volunteer Fire Protection District for some time now.
But I do have a lot of friends and family that are on either neighboring fire departments or other fire departments elsewhere that have said that they have either not shown up, or there are very few people that show up, or there are no response at all from anybody.
As a husband and father of 3 kids, he's concerned about what might happen if he needed to call 911.
Do you think that Old Monroe would show up for you?
In all honesty, I hate to say it, no, I do not think they would. Or it would be very delayed and other neighboring departments would beat them here.
I asked Old Monroe's Deputy Fire Chief Mike Cherry about this.
They say it's been a pattern of problems of people not showing up from Old Monroe. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't agree with that. No. I mean, it's Has there been some delays? But yes, I mean, there's every fire department, every volunteer, 100% volunteer department has that problem.
A former high-ranking Old Monroe firefighter says there was a lack of mutual aid agreements and automatic aid agreements. Specifically, mutual aid agreements send the next closest fire department to the scene in case the responding department needs more help or if they're unable to respond. Automatic aid sends both departments to an incident immediately. A first responder source in Lincoln County tells me in roughly the past 2 years, there have been 11 car crashes with a total of 8 deaths where there was no mutual aid agreement between Old Monroe and neighboring departments. Cherry says this has been corrected, but they, like many other volunteer departments, are in desperate need of volunteers.
You want to make a difference in your community, show up, volunteer. It is a major commitment for a lot of people, and there's a lot of training that goes into it.
Another resident wanted to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation, but says he's truly worried about the community's safety.
My main frustration would be that it took so long for it to be changed. There were a lot of lives put at stake for a number of years with refusal to change from the status quo.
The next public meeting for the Old Monroe Fire Board is scheduled for November 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Laura Bercheski getting answers tonight. A third lawsuit is now filed against a former Florissant police officer accused of stealing intimate photos from women's phones. The latest lawsuit was filed in federal court. It also names the officer for the very first time. 5 on Your Side is not reporting his name since he has not been criminally charged. The victim claims the former officer pulled her over twice for a broken tail light. She says he took her phone back to his police cruiser to get her insurance information. The November 5th election is now just 2 weeks away, and Missouri voters hoping to beat the rush to the ballot box were met with long lines today. This was the very first day for no excuse absentee in-person voting in the Show Me State, and some people reported waiting longer than an hour to cast their ballots at some locations. The longer than usual ballot is adding to the wait times.
We hope that a lot of people do vote early so that it takes the pressure off of a large turnout on Election Day.
A reminder, you're allowed to take notes and even a sample ballot with you when you go to vote. If you want to study up on the candidates and the issues, 5 on Your Side has a complete voter guide on KSDK.com. Text the word guide to 314-425-5355. We'll send you a link. Vice President Kamala Harris took the day off from the presidential campaign trail, but she sat down with NBC's Hallie Jackson, who pressed her on her economic policies and the sentiment of American voters who feel the Biden administration has hurt them.
So part of my plan includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries, including the work I will do dealing with price gouging, something I dealt with when I was Attorney General, something I will deal with going forward.
Then why do you think that's not landing with voters?
Because
but
I think
numbers,
it is.
It's the opposite. Former President Trump leads you on this issue.
Well, when I'm out, this is why I'm going out to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, excuse me.
Former President Donald Trump didn't take today off. He was busy doing outreach with faith leaders and Latino voters in Florida. Just hours ago, he wrapped up a rally in North Carolina.
So I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals into our country. And I will bring back, as your president, the American dream. We're going to bring it back. Our country is being crippled and destroyed by Kamala Harris.
Polls continue to show there's no clear leader in the race for the White House. A new start for the St. Louis man who spent 28 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit. Lamar Johnson will start a new job tomorrow for the Delwood Public Works Department. The city hired Lamar Johnson after he completed the Urban League's Save Our Sons job training program. A judge threw out his conviction last year. What started as a traffic stop has led to an inseparable bond between a St. Anne teenager and a police officer. When the young driver was caught driving without a license, the officer offered a solution to prevent the 17-year-old from repeating that same mistake.
It's a newfound respect that contradicts everything Mason Matney thought about police.
All they do is, give tickets and make your life harder than what it was supposed to be. Just avoid them. No one really liked them, You saw a cop on the street, keep your head straight.
But a simple interaction can often change our perceptions. It was last month, here on Geraldine Avenue in St. Anne. Matney admits going a bit too fast behind the wheel.
Why were you speeding?
I was late to school.
He can laugh about it now because he now realizes the errors of his ways.
I pulled him over. It was the second time that I interacted with him.
In this case, Officer Benjamin Freet tells me the teen did not have a license or insurance, but for some reason he felt compelled to help the teen who was just trying to get to school.
Getting written tickets or going to jail at a young age and being introduced to the system didn't really seem like that was the right idea.
He decided to take Matney to take the test to get his driving permit.
He's giving me an opportunity. I'm not one to miss one, so I took it.
He passed, and he followed through with it, though. That's what I was really impressed with.
Little did he know, the police officer was making an impression too.
What I realized is they just people, you know, like they just people doing their job.
He's polite, he's respectful, even in the midst of all that. He could have been rude and he wasn't. And I didn't want that attitude to change. I wanted to preserve it.
That teen loves working on cars, a skill the officer knows little about. He feels this experience propelled a mutual appreciation and an opportunity to learn from one another.
Bad beef? Tonight, the investigation into the order making dozens of McDonald's customers sick. A partisan crime or a petty theft?
So you know how many are here?
Approximately 60, yeah.
Dozens of Kamala Harris signs stolen. Tonight, a Missouri couple's high-tech trick to catch the teenage thieves. Plus, we verify the big consequences they could face.
October continues dry and very warm. I'll time out our next cool down and some brief rain chances.
A sad update tonight. A soldier reported missing from Fort Leonard Wood has been found dead. Sergeant Sarah Rogue was reported missing yesterday. Details of her death have not been released. The Department of the Army Criminal Division is now investigating. The Indiana native enlisted in 2020, completing her basic training at Fort Leonard Wood before becoming a mine dog handler. A health alert tonight. A deadly E. coli outbreak has been linked to McDonald's Quarter Pounders. Cases have been reported in 10 states, including at least one in Missouri. One person has died, 50 others have gotten sick. According to the CDC, everyone with symptoms reported eating at McDonald's between September 27th and October 11th. Most of them ate a quarter pounder. Health investigators are focusing on onions and beef patties as possible sources.
Get a video of this. Get a video of this. This is where they all are.
Caught on camera, a Missouri couple tracks down a political sign stolen from their front yard in Springfield. When they confronted the teenage thieves, they found dozens of signs for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. The couple says this was the fourth time someone swiped their Harris Walz signs. After the third time, they got creative and bought an Apple AirTag.
One of the items had an Apple tracker in it, and it tracks to the trunk of your vehicle. They're about $25 a piece. So, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's an inconvenience. And again, it's a stifling of our ability to put our voice forward.
The couple says the thieves admitted they had taken about 60 of those signs. And while this may seem like a pretty petty prank, our verified team found stealing campaign signs can land you in trouble with the law. Here's Brandon Lewis.
Campaign yard signs are popping up all over the country as we approach Election Day, sometimes pitting neighbors against each other. People online are complaining their signs were stolen, while others are going to extreme lengths to keep thieves away. A person on Threads claims their signs were recently stolen, and someone commented, "That's a crime." But is it really? Let's verify. Our sources are the U.S. Code of Laws and various state laws. There's no federal law against stealing campaign signs, but there are laws in all 50 states that make it illegal in most cases to take them from private property. At minimum, most states consider it petty theft, which is a misdemeanor punishable by a fine or a few days in jail. So, yes, it is a crime to steal a campaign sign from private property. Many states allow signs to be removed if they're in dangerous locations. Others only apply sign tampering rules for a few months before and a few weeks after Election Day. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
In both Missouri and in Illinois, stealing an election sign is a misdemeanor. If convicted, you could face up to a year in jail and a $2,500 fine. What would you like for us to verify? Just email us at verify@ksdk.com. Another downtown bar is planning its last call. Billy's on Broadway announced today it will close its doors on Friday. It opened last year in the old Bill on Broadway space. Owners of the Blues and Sports Bar, located south of Busch Stadium, say the current landscape of the restaurant industry has become increasingly challenging. Exciting changes are coming to the St. Louis Zoo. Today, officials showed off the progress that's being made to the new Destination Discovery exhibit. Crews began demolishing the old children's zoo about a month ago. The new area will feature underground tunnels, a walk-through aviary, and a water play. It will also double the size of the zoo's preschool.
On the upper level of the building will be a new area for our full-day nature-based preschool. And a lot of people don't know we're one of the few zoos in the country that has a nature-based preschool, but we only offer a half-day preschool. This new facility will allow us to have 2 full-day classes.
Destination Discovery is set to open in 2026. We'll get ready for that. Well, folks, it's time for your weather impact forecast. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for us tonight. Jim, it's warm outside. I mean, this is warmer than usual.
It really is. You know, today's high at 84, the record 86, Brent. 17 degrees above that average high, which is 67. So way too hot for this time of year. Had a trace of rain at Lambert and about 2 100ths Highland, Illinois, and also Eureka, Missouri, but that is about it. Beautiful night, though. It's clear. There's the arch. Fantastic shot there. It's not only clear at Lambert, but all throughout the area. Notice that wind. It's up a little bit. South-southwest at about 15 miles an hour, so still a little bit breezy. It was breezy all day. Humidity at 44%. It was really low most of the day. And there's that record, our near record high of 84. And started out at 51 this morning, and those averages or normals are 67 and 47. So we have another front coming our way, and there's just a little bit of moisture with this as we get into Friday. I'll talk about that coming up, but tonight is clear. But of course, wanted to show you that satellite loop. There's that shower activity and a couple rumbles of thunder, especially on the Illinois side earlier today, but then that rapidly went away, and we are dry tonight. Lows in the 50s. Remember how cool it was a few days ago in the 30s? But we're clear tonight. We're mild, and we have a westerly wind that's turning more southwesterly. And as we get into tomorrow, a northwest breeze at about 10 to 20. It's a dry day as we get into Wednesday, it is. And a little bit of sunshine mixed with cloud cover. And there's the front that pushes through the region. Pretty much dry. There's high pressure moving into Iowa. But where we have a chance of rain is when this warm front moves back to the north as we get into Thursday night and early on Friday, a cold front comes through here. So we'll watch to see if maybe, very late after midnight Thursday night and into Friday morning, a chance of a shower or a rumble of thunder in here through the morning commute. We'll hope for that. Some areas probably staying dry, and others will see just a little bit of rain in there. And so that front pushes through on Friday, and then we cool off as we get into the weekend forecast. But that rain chance, we could see some measurable rainfall. Didn't have much of that today, but there's the weekend forecast. Looks cool, but the average high is 67, so we're still above that and closer to 70. And a better chance of rain as we get toward Halloween.
I'm not really complaining, but at some point when it's fall, you want it to feel like fall.
Yes, and we do see signs of that later next week.
It's on the horizon. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Yeah. Frank Cusimano is standing by with sports.
Brent, the Blues locked up a star player, unveiled their Hall of Fame class, and played a game. The Cardinals made a lot of moves today, and wait till you see what Jason Tatum did tonight in the NBA opener. Unbelievable.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
This could have been the best day of the young season for the Blues. In the morning, they signed Jake Neighbors to a 2-year extension for $8 million. Love that move. And tonight, all they had to do was beat the hottest team in hockey, the 5-0 Winnipeg Jets, who came in averaging a staggering 5 goals per game. Scoreless in the first period, Robert Thomas will fire the puck at the net, and Brandon Saad is there for the rebound, the 500th point of his career. The Jets soared in the second. Look at this cannon from the right point by Colin Miller, which beats Jordan Binnington. And this is just too easy. Kyle Connor goes in untouched and unleashes 3-1 Jets. Third period, Thomas, who got hit by a puck later, but before he left the game, assisted on the second Saad goal. Not enough. Jets win 3-2. The Blues announced their Hall of Fame class. The original Blue, Jimmy Roberts, the great goalie, Curtis Joseph, and Wayne Babbage, a prolific goal scorer. The Cardinals have quite a few Hall of Famers too, and one of them is Willie McGee. Well, he's leaving the coaching staff. John Jay will be replacing Willie. Brant Brown is the new hitting coach. He comes from the Mariners. And Rob Cerfolio, who played a key role with the Guardians, will be the assistant general manager. I'm sure Cardinal fans are going to miss seeing Willie in uniform. He will be a special assistant to John Mozeliak. He was a tireless worker and a great communicator with the young players. I asked the president about the move for Willie.
It's just to allow him more control of his own time. Willie is a special person. Obviously, his connection to the Cardinals is something that's legendary and something we all respect. And I think that the travel, the demands of the day-to-day job, it's tough, and this will give him a lot more flexibility moving forward.
Playing Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium is about as daunting of a task as you can get in college football. Consider this. Over the last 5 years, Alabama has lost 1 game in Tuscaloosa. That's where Mizzou will be on Saturday afternoon. They are a 13.5-point underdog. However, if Mizzou can keep the game close, I like their chances. Listen closely to this very impressive statistic. Mizzou is 7-0 in one-score games over the last 2 seasons. Coach Drink, what do you think about that stat?
I do think the one quality that I think this team really has that shows up is a refusal to give in. And I think in college football, that's not always the norm. I don't think that's always the norm. I think people get into that here we go again mode, or they don't focus on this play, they focus on the final scoreboard, and our team just doesn't seem to do that right now.
Chase Daniel won a few big games for Mizzou, and today he was named to the 16-member 2024 SEC Football Legends class. Before his 14-year career as a backup in the NFL came, Chase was a star at Mizzou. He set records for yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, and passer rating. And most importantly, he won games like few Mizzou quarterbacks have ever done. The NBA season opened tonight, the Celtics hosting the Knicks. And remember during the finals when people were worried about Jason Tatum shooting? Well, don't. Tatum had one of the best shooting days of his magnificent career. 8 of 11 from three-point range, 37 points, and the Celtics rolled 132 to 109. Former St. Louis football Cardinal great O.J. Anderson got a step closer to the Pro Football Hall of Fame today. O.J. is now on the list of the final 31. It will now come down to the 12 senior voters. As we have told you, there has been a grassroots support for number 32, which started in this area. And O.J., I'm told, got emotional today when he heard the news about him advancing. Let's hope this dream is realized. I can remember being there in 1979, his first game. Yeah. And he ran for 191 yards for the Big Red. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He certainly does. And you also remember Jason when he was a young kid.
That's right. We played one-on-one. I got 1 point off him, and he got about 10 straight, and then I retired.
You knew he was going to be something, didn't you? Frank, thank you. Well, the results are in from a nationwide rat race, and St. Louis didn't even place. Why, that's a good thing. Walmart is eliminating your trip to the pharmacy. The retail giant announced a new prescription delivery service. Right now, it's available in Missouri, but not Illinois. There will be a $10 delivery charge for customers who are not members of Walmart Plus. Denny's is known as America's Diner, but that's always open, but that may soon change. The 24-hour diner chain announced it's closing 150 restaurants in the next year. It will also allow franchises to close nightly. Denny's is also cutting 50% of its menu. It appears St. Louis has run the rats out of town. Orkin released its annual Rattiest Cities list today. The Gateway City is not even in the top 50. Last year, we ranked 39th. Chicago is the rattiest city for the 10th year in a row. The rankings come from the number of new rodent treatments. So, Jim, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, I used to see him in New York City when I lived there.
Of course, everywhere you go. Yep.
So weather-wise, you know, it looks good tonight. I can't believe how warm it was today, in the 80s. But we're cooler tomorrow, 73. We're dry, a chance of rain early Friday, and a pretty nice weekend. Highs near 70.
We love nice weekends.
Yeah.
All right, Frank, do we call it a night?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all good? Thanks for the time, my friends. Remember, we're always streaming on 5+. Start your day with Today in St. Louis, beginning at 4 in the morning. Good night.